do it every year. We start with the highest ranked team in the state and go down from there. And that is the Indiana Hoosiers. They're number 13 in the nation. Looking back at last year, they went 21-14, 9-11 in the Big Ten. They were 9th in the conference. Statistically, they were 10th in the conference in scoring offense with 71 points per game. They were 3rd in the Big Ten in points allowed with 66 points per game. They ended their losing streak to Purdue. They propelled themselves to a NCAA tournament berth with Big Ten tournament wins over Michigan and Illinois. That was a really cool run that they made. They made their first NCAA tournament since 2016, defeating Wyoming in the first 4 before getting blown out by St. Mary's in the round of 64. So looking ahead at this season, like I said, they are preseason number 13. They are the highest among Big Ten teams, so they are, from those preliminary rankings, looking to be at the top of the Big Ten this year. Trace Jackson Davis returns. He was 6th in the Big Ten per game last season with 18. He led the team in blocks and rebounds as well last season. Other notable returnees, take your pick. There's a lot of players coming back for this IU squad, which makes them very dangerous, including Jackson Davis. 4 of 5 starters from last season are back. Xavier Johnson, who averaged 12 points per game, team leader in assists and steals. He also averaged 38% from beyond the arc. Race Thompson is back, who averaged 11 points per game. And Miller Kopp, who averaged 36% from beyond the arc in 2021. He's back as well. Some notable matchups for them. They are at home. Their home notable matchups this season. Number 1, North Carolina. They're at home against number 17, Arizona. Number 23, Illinois. And number 22, Michigan. Then on the road, some big matchups. Number 5, Kansas. Number 23, Illinois. And number 22, Michigan. So some things that jump out at you for this IU schedule is not only are they, the highest ranked Big Ten team and they have all this stuff going for them, but also, we've talked on the show a lot, in the past about IU has this cakewalk of a non-conference schedule to kind of get them ready. Their win-loss.
It doesn't get them ready. Doesn't get them ready.
Well,
it pads their record.
So what I'm saying is it pads their record so that way they can, that way their record at the end of the year looks really good. But they're but we kind of see what happens once they get into the Big Ten play. This season, they play North Carolina, they play Arizona, they play Kansas. Those are easily the toughest non-conference games they've had, at least in that I can think of in recent memory.
Yeah. Dating back to before they, during their Kentucky series, before they canceled that. I think that same year they may have also had North Carolina at home in the ACC Big Ten Challenge. But yeah, that was that was a good IU team. We're talking like Christian Watford led teams. Those were good IU teams.
Oladipo.
Yeah, Oladipo. Yeah, you're right. This schedule is totally different from what we've seen out of the Hoosiers in the past. And in the past we've seen them just run roughshod on Ivy Tech type schools, and they come in with this inflated record going into Big Ten play, and all the fans are puffing out their chests saying, look how good we are. Our margin of victory is astronomical, and we're undefeated, and we're playing at a high level. You also played nobody. And you get into the Big Ten, and you start trying to play the way you were against those Louisiana Monroes, and it doesn't work. So this is going to set them up better. They're probably going to take their lumps. Let's just be honest. This is a team that a lot of people, yes, they put them at 13th preseason, but a lot of people do have question marks about them. Wait, why are we putting a team that's ranked, a team at 13 in the country, the highest ranked Big Ten team, and this is a team that just got smoked. They got boat raced by the St. Mary Gales. They kind of nudged their way into the NCAA tournament. They got Michigan and Illinois kind of at a right time. In Michigan and Illinois, the wheels started to fall off those teams in the Big Ten tournament. And they snuck their way into the first 4. So how do we take a team that went from the first 4 to now being a top 15 team, looking at as a potential Big Ten champion, like I know a lot of experts take continuity into account, and this team has a lot of a continuity. However, it's been a lot of continuity of losing. That's the thing. So I'm interested to see how this team works. Like if they go out and they get thumped by North Carolina, which is very likely to happen. This is a very, very good North Carolina team that we're going to talk about later in the show because they're that good. They're number one for a reason. If they go out and get thumped by Arizona, there's 2 home games, and then thumped by Kansas. I mean, I could see them beating Arizona at home. Arizona is kind of the same situation as IU. Like, okay. I mean, they lost quite a bit.
Yeah.
But I'm just like, I want to see how they respond to the potential of getting beat badly and beat soundly by some of these higher tier teams. Is it like IU have passed that just they let their egos get in the way and they fold, or have they turned that corner now? And if they do take a beating, do they respond to it by keep pushing forward? That's kind of what I want to see. If they start to wither because they played good competition and they got beat by them, then it's like, okay, this is IU of old. This could get ugly in a hurry. But if they show resilience and keep that fight going, then I think, okay, they turn that corner. This is a team to contend with. I mean, don't get me wrong. They are going to be a team to contend with in the Big Ten. Do I think they're going to be a team to contend with on the national level? Not yet. Not there quite yet. Mike Woodson's going to help get them closer to that, but I don't think it's there this year. So IU fans, I wouldn't be booking your hotels and flights to Houston just yet. Let's, the candy stripes are not back. This isn't another, well, if you want to call it a movement, go ahead, because I know Purdue fans loved it when you called your last big team the movement, because it ended up being a bowel movement of sorts. So go ahead, call it a movement again. But I want to see how this team responds to adversity. The adversity that I feel like they will face in the non-conference schedule of their portion of the season.
Well, you mentioned how they might fare on the national stage, and that brings us to our hot or cold question for IU basketball this season. Hot or cold, IU's ceiling this season involves a Sweet 16 appearance, and I personally think this is a hot take. I think this season sets up perfectly for IU to make a deep run come March. I feel like I feel a little differently about this team than you do, but the reason why is they return a lot. So there's another year under this squad's belt with NCAA tournament experience, which is huge. They've been there before. Last year, it could have been a little bit of a precursor to what we're going to look at this season. The Big Ten doesn't appear to be as strong as in recent years. Now, I know there's probably going to be IU fans in the comments thinking that that's an insult. It's not.
No, you take advantage of it when you can.
Right.
You take advantage of those down years.
Because that's to say that there's a higher possibility that IU could use that, like you said, to their advantage, stay ranked in the top 10 or 15. The Big Ten starts the season with 3 ranked teams, the lowest number since 2018-2019, a season in which 9 of 14 teams finished 500 or worse in the conference. To compare, last season, 8 of 14 teams had a winning conference record. They do, we talked about their high-profile games against UNC, Arizona, and Kansas, which gives the Hoosiers an opportunity to notch some marquee wins early. Arizona lost a lot, as you mentioned, B. Scott, plus the Pac-12 can't get out of their own way and seemingly every sport. Kansas has been known to drop early season non-conference games. I feel like every year there's that weird game that's like, Kansas lost by 30 to Michigan State? Like, what happened? What? Isn't Kansas number 5 in the country? Like, I feel like I know there was one year they got
yeah,
like...
but that's typically in that Champions Classic that's here in Indianapolis, and it's like, oh, they lost by 30 to Duke. And it's like, I wouldn't call that like a weird loss, because they play in that. They're playing in that this year again, and it's like the same 4 teams.
Don't think that it's weird that Kansas loses by like handedly to teams that they should be on the same level at. I mean, I know it's November college basketball. It's not
But
the
are
same
you do you
intensity
would you
as
be saying
March.
IU and Kansas are on the same level? I'm not
No,
putting IU and Kansas on the same
but what
level.
I'm saying is that, like, I mean, whether or not you think the team like, you would say Kansas being the number 5 team in the country or whatever they are, I think they're 5, playing the
Yeah,
number
they are
13 team, like, you would like to think that that game's going to be close, right?
at
Kansas has
at
been
Kansas though. At Kansas,
No, it's out. It is at Kansas, isn't it? But still, though, like,
yeah,
right. But what I'm saying is they've been known to drop. Neutral court or
yeah. You
no,
are right. You are right.
neutral
Neutral
court
court. Yeah,
or no. It's the fact that, like, you would expect, Kansas against another top 10, top 15 team to not get boat raced, no matter if it's
right,
November or not. So that's just
right.
what I'm saying. I mean, maybe I'm out of left field here, because you're right. I mean, it is those neutral court, you know, you know whatever games, but it's still odd to me. So, and I don't think it's out of the realm of possibility. So, I mean, even if IU can get a win against one of those teams, I think it definitely helps
Arizona.
them.
I think Arizona. If IU fans, if you want to mark one on your calendar that you have the best shot of winning, it's Arizona.
Yeah,
However, I don't think I would have said last year that Purdue would have gone into that tournament in Connecticut and come out as champions after beating both Villanova and North Carolina.
yeah,
And Purdue was a top 10 team. So, of course, the North Carolina Purdue played last year was very different than North Carolina that made the run in the
right,
NCAA
right.
tournament. That was two totally different teams. So maybe, hey, IU, if like look at North Carolina as from last year as a benchmark. Like, look, yeah, they had their struggles early on in the season, but by the end of the season, they turned it on, and look at the run that they made.
Yeah. To sum up my take, though, it's an experienced team and easier to navigate Big Ten, and some of the games that give IU the tools they need to grab a higher seed and thus an easier path to the second weekend of the NCAA tournament. I can see them being a top 4 seed come March. And I mean, sure, yeah, 4 versus 13 sometimes can get the better of
Yeah.
teams, but it at least gives them a better chance to not have to play in the first 4 and take on a team like St. Mary's and the like early on in the tournament.
Yeah, and I think it also helps if you're missing out on the first 4 as well. Um, I do think the ceiling involves a Sweet 16 appearance. I feel like with all of the expectations on this team, that if they don't make a Sweet 16, I worry of what the fan base will start to do, because IU fans are different than most. Like, then I'll say even Purdue fans, because IU fans, like, they take all this hype that's surrounding them right now and they blow it up to this is like the IU teams of the 80s. And the minute that it doesn't start going how they think it should go, they start turning on the coach. I worry that if they do have another, I don't think they're going to get bounced in the round of 64, but if they get bounced in the round of 32, I just worry that any momentum that the team may have had, the fan base could potentially kill off. You know, what Mike Woodson is what their, let's see, 2, 3, like their 4th or 5th
Yeah.
head
So
coach since
they
Bobby Knight.
so Crean, well, yeah, since Bobby Knight, yeah, I was gonna say, because Crean is the last one that got them to the Sweet 16 in 2016, right? So
Right.
since Crean, did it go Crean, Archie Miller, Woodson, or is there someone I'm missing in
Yeah.
there? Okay,
Crean, Archie Miller, Woodson. And then prior to Crean, I mean, you have Dockich for half a season
right, and then
and
yeah,
Kelvin Sampson, who had
or
the team on
or
a,
was it Mike? Yeah, it was Kelvin Sampson to Dockich. Okay, never mind. It was
because
that
it was Mike Davis
Mike
to
Davis. Yeah.
Kelvin Sampson. And Mike Davis, I don't know what happened there. He inherited a good Bobby Knight team and got him to a national championship game. But I mean, it's a pattern. Like, And the thing is, my message to IU fans, it's always the same. It's time to stop looking at the banners and time to start focusing on the here and now. Stop living in the past and look at the future. And look at what Mike Woodson is bringing back to IU. He's bringing back the IU way. And that's exactly what you've all been clamoring for so long. But if for some reason, like, look, one thing you need to make a run in the NCAA tournament is you need consistent shooting. And that's been IU's Achilles heel for the past several years with this current roster is shooting. They haven't had consistent shooters, people that can take the pressure off Trace Davis Jackson on the inside. Did I get that right? I know we said it wrong one time and we got ripped in the YouTube comments just because got his name mixed around. TJD, right? Yeah, Trace Davis. Jackson Davis. There we go.
Yeah, because I said Davis Jackson last year.
Yeah, and we got ripped. Yeah. So I gotta get it right.
I said it once too.
Said it once. And look, I even caught myself. I'm just gonna TJD.
Trace.
Okay. So yeah, Trace, you wanna get the pressure off of him on the inside because look, he's not a shooter. As much as he wants to think he is, and other people want to think he is, he's not a shooter. He hasn't been, and he's in his fourth year now at IU. Some things just don't change. It's like all of a sudden thinking Zach Edey at Purdue is going to be a 3-point threat. Not happening. So you need that consistent shooting to make deeper runs within the tournament. I mean, look, you look back at like even Purdue when they made that run to the Elite Eight. What was it that carried them to the Elite Eight? It was lethal, consistent outside shooting threats. Carson Edwards and Ryan Klein. So that's where I need to see the improvement from IU before I can say, oh yeah, this is a team that can make a deep run in the NCAA tournament. But yes, I do believe it is a hot take that the ceiling for this team is a run to the Sweet 16. But just don't lose sight. If you do lose in the round of 32, it's not bad. It's growth. That is the progress you need to show. You can't go from first four to national champion in one season. It very rarely actually, I don't think it ever happens. So just be patient and know that, hey, making it to the round of 32, making it into the tournament outside of the first four, making it to the round of 32, that's growth. If you can pull off a win against like an Arizona or somebody and stay competitive in those other games against UNC and Kansas, that only betters your opportunity to make that run. But if it doesn't happen, it is not time to turn on Mike Woodson. It is not. It is time to stay the course, stay calm, because look, Archie Miller dug you guys a hole, and Mike Woodson is still trying to dig out of it. It's not easy to quickly turn things around. There's going to be bumps in the road along the way.